Well, happy Friday, all you fabulous freight masters out there. Um, so it seems like you guys really seem to kind of like getting the free shipper leads. So I thought, you know what? Let's finish out the week with another one. I know I had just done a free shipper leads thing in one of not the last video, but the video before that. I thought I would do this for you guys here again. Please bear with me. I got a little bit of a headache today, and I don't know. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, so we'll try to get through this and make it as painless as possible. Okay. Again, I talked to everybody about utilizing Google, LinkedIn, directories, all of these things, right? And that's really what it's about, is utilizing all of our resources, building relationships and things. And we can kind of perfect our cold calling techniques, or if you're doing cold emails, which I don't really prefer because sometimes those can get blocked unless you're added to their system. So again, I always prefer to do the cold calling method when I'm reaching out to prospective customers. So with that, I just did sort of a general U.S. manufacturers directory. Now you could use this for anything. It doesn't have to be manufacturers. You can use it for U.S. produce distributors directory or something. You know what I mean? It's whatever. So these are just examples, and kind of like let that get the gears turning in your mind, right? So obviously, this is going to come up with some paid directories and things like that. But ready here we see Made in America. Okay, so we go down all states, products, and you can narrow this down by state, by what type of product, right? And you can load more. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because, I don't, it can get extensive. But if maybe you're into dry van freight, hazmat, anything like that, maybe 3M would be a good prospect for you to start soliciting. All these kinds of things, right? So there's a lot of them, and we've mentioned. Oh, there's a fly in here. So there's ThomasNet, things like this. International Trade Administrative.gov. Okay, we can search for U.S. companies. Oh, that did switch over. Share this tab instead. There we go. So there's 657 results. Goodwear USA. So a lot of this looks like it's probably going to be like clothing, things like that, textiles. So if you're into dry van freight, whether you're owner operator, fleet owner, freight broker, freight agent, all of these are going to apply to you. Okay. So, and guys, if you have questions, I do have the comments open. Say hello, or ask me anything, and I'll pop up my email again for everybody. For those of you that might be new to the channel, and you need to reach out to me directly. But there's Soulmate socks. Like some of you guys might even be familiar with some of these. I'm not sure why this is stopping on me. Huh. Maybe that's just as far down as it goes. There's no footer on it. I forget. Because I look at a lot of these. So, and then we can go to next. Synthetic fibers, yarns, leathers, all of these kind of things, right? So, oops. What did I do? I clicked the wrong tab. Bear with me. I'll get it back here in just a second. That way you guys don't have to. Share. There we go. So with that, we'll go back over here. Again, American apparel and footwear, made in America. Like, just, think about it and just start utilizing all of this stuff. USA Manufacturers Directory. The next one, this breaks it down by state. The next one, actually, Duns and Bradstreet. Okay. So bear with me. I hate the little countdown timer thing on here, but it'll pop up here. Just a moment. There we go. So there's 753,042 manufacturer profiles here. Okay. So there's Amazon, Exxon, Apple, Chevron. Like some of these are going to be huge companies, right? Like big companies, PepsiCo, Tesla, General Electric, things like this. Get that off of there. Nike, right? And so you can just kind of just keep checking this out. Um, Pratt Industries. Again, some of you guys might be familiar with some of these. And like I said, it's not just online directories and things. I told you that how many times I've embarrassed my wife going into certain stores, finding products, turning it around to the back, where like typically where like the barcode and all that is, and it gives you the name of the manufacturer, sometimes their address, phone number, things like that. Take a picture of it, come home, jump on LinkedIn. Sorry, I'm having a hard time talking. And finding out who the transportation manager is or whatever their title is, right? It can be as simple as that. But I wanted to do this on a Friday, guys, just not to get off track here, but just to kind of help you out. Maybe you're working on building your prospect list and things. So this might be a good thing to work on over the weekend to put together. You're very welcome. And like my buddy Mike, who's a member of the Facebook group, had mentioned, about me doing this. And if I only even help one person, right, with some of the resources and things, the discount codes and things like that, different, TMS systems, factoring, your 10% off of DAT, things like this, right? And then obviously the prospect resources, a lot of this is sort of like needs for us, whether you're a broker or a carrier. So if we can save a little money or get some information for free and it helps you out, hey, it's sort of like there's a movie that I watch. I don't know, maybe you guys aren't familiar with it. It's called Escanaba in the Moonlight. And one of the sayings in there is anything free is worth saving up for, right? So like I said, I try to provide you guys with as many free resources as possible. Let's see, where were we? Did we look at this one yet? Okay, here's wood crafts, tube bending, all kinds of stuff, right? There's more textiles type stuff, and some of this might be partial freight, LTL freight, whatever it is, you're going to find it, right? Eventually, MFG, right? Location, United States, capability. Okay, so maybe we go to fabrication, hit search. I apologize, my computer seems to be running a little bit slow today. Midland Precision Machining Incorporated, CM Engineering, like all of this stuff, right? And it breaks it down by city or states, all of this. Like it's all here. You just gotta go through it. Okay. And if you guys, again, if you have any questions at all about anything, again, if I don't have it, I guarantee you I know somebody who does. There's ThomasNet, IQS, right? I've shown this one off before, as well as ThomasNet, but it doesn't matter whether you're in refrigerated freight, open deck freight, dry van freight, hazmat, whatever. All of this stuff is out here, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, I sort of like show examples, but if these examples don't necessarily apply to you directly, just change the wording a little bit, in your search. But it's all here. And again, there's ThomasNet, and they've got, a ton of information there. Okay. So guys, it's all here. And typically, like what I would do is put together my list of companies that I want to reach out to, see if I can find out who the contact name is. I usually try to do a little bit more research on them, try to check any news that's going on with them. Like I said, I've picked up numerous customers that they were maybe one manufacturing facility or two, but they're expanding, right? Their business is growing. They're adding a third facility, maybe in a different state, or distribution center or something, and it'll be completed in November. So, I would, just as an example, and I would reach out to them and say, hey, I see that you're opening up a new facility, in Oklahoma City, let's just say, and as it just so happens, as I typically have like 30 trucks a week available in or around, Oklahoma City, 20-30 mile radius of Oklahoma City. I'd really love to assist you with your freight needs, that kind of thing, right? We're always looking for reloads, just off the top of my head, just something like that. So that's typically what I would do, and anything else that I can find out about them, and a lot of times, like I said, if you follow the commodity that they're shipping, a lot of times you'll know if it's refrigerated freight, dry van freight, open deck freight. Obviously, with clothes and shoes, you're not going to put that on a flatbed, right? It's going to go on a dry van. As well as you're not going to put steel I-beams on a dry van or a reefer. So a lot of times you can kind of figure out, especially for those of you that are maybe a little bit new, you can, pretty much deduce what that is. Material supply director, like I said, it's almost endless, right? The number of suppliers that are available, right? All the prospective shippers, list of manufacturing companies in the USA, right? Just gotta do a little digging. It's just a simple Google search. That's all it takes, right? Do you guys have any questions for me while I'm here? Anything at all? Has anybody picked up a new shipper, maybe as a result of some of these free shipper leads? If you have, hey, let me know. Maybe you got more than one new freight shipper. If you're struggling with your sales call technique or anything like that, again, I'm not a big fan of scripts, but if you're just starting out, use the script, but practice it so it doesn't sound like you're reading from a script, right? So, it should flow, because otherwise, you can kind of almost tell, and they're gonna know if you're reading from a script or not, right? And I should do a video on handling objections. So like when a prospect says, well, we're all set right now, or we're really not, onboarding, or, maybe they go, well, what lanes are you running? Things like this. Actually, I don't have like a sign up sheet. Good question. I don't necessarily have like a quote unquote mentorship program. However, what I can do is give you my email right there, freightmasterresources@gmail.com. I check it diligently throughout the day. Feel free to reach out to me, and I can do a one-on-one with you, as far as maybe you need help deciding on a niche, right? Rather than just kind of doing the shotgun method where you're going after everything, right? We talked about niches in previous videos, becoming an expert in a niche. And I know some brokers, they never deviate from their niche, right? They've gotten to become such an expert in their niche. Let's just say they're shipping steel, all right, just as an example. They've become such an expert at shipping steel that there's no need for them to diversify their book of business, right? Because almost every steel manufacturer knows them. They're on top of things. They know how everything's supposed to go, whether it's straps and chains or, whatever, So, hello, thank you for joining. So yeah, feel free to reach out to me. And again, I'll do my very best to help you out, because again, I want to see everybody be successful. And I realize that we're still in a down market, but it doesn't have to be for you. While some brokers and broker agents are failing, as well as carriers, right? There are still other brokers out there that are succeeding. Why? Because they've pivoted. Okay, they've adjusted to what's going on in the industry. Whether rates are down, margins are down. This is another thing to pay attention to is commodity. Usually, the higher the value of the commodity, the better the rates are. Now, I say that usually because I have had some shippers. In fact, I had one, was it 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that, reach out to me. And they actually had the loads averaged right around $213,000, and they were barely paying market rate, which was absolute garbage. And I tried to explain to them that we typically get more money for that because I've got to go to my carrier following, right, with this stuff. They're going to want to know what the commodity is, and when I tell them, they're like, "Why are you only paying this much?" Right? I've got to have the additional cargo insurance for this load because it's higher value. It's not like a $80,000 or $100,000 load. It's double that plus, right? So, and so they just kind of weren't really budging, and they're like, well, we've got, some of our own carriers as well, and it was a whole back and forth kind of a thing. They still want me to move their freight, even though they're like, well, we've got all these carriers that'll do it for even less than what our target rate was. Well, no, come on. If you're still emailing me every day, hey, are you able to handle these loads for us? You don't have the carriers that you say you do, or you wouldn't still be hounding me for it, right? Because I do have a decent carrier following. I work with some very great carriers. In fact, if you're a carrier out there and you want to work with me, hit me up. Hit that email. All right, let me know if you've got specific lanes, anything like that. Let me know, and if I don't have freight on that lane or maybe in that state, which is usually pretty rare, I will go out and find that for you. Right? I will. New freight broker suffered a hemorrhagic stroke, worked on ports Philadelphia and Dell. I'm sorry to hear that. So if I'm understanding, is that why you got into freight brokering? As a result, you couldn't work the ports anymore? I guess I'm sorry, I'm a little confused by your comment. But yeah, it doesn't have to be impossible. And if in the downturn in the market, if you were moving, like, let's just say a lot of like lumber and wood type products, pallets, plywood, things like that, typically some of that can be kind of heavy, and you were working on minimum margins and things. Maybe it's time, if it's not already too late for you, right, to pivot and maybe diversify your book of business a little bit and go after a different commodity. Educate yourself on that. Maybe you're going to go after copper or something, right? So you would want to look up maybe U.S. copper and manufacturers directory or something. Kind of narrow that down and focus on shipping copper, right? And letting that become another niche for you, right? It might be produce. And again, we're getting ready to go into the January, February lull. We're like, what, 2.5 months out from that right now. So if you are maybe in produce and you're like, with as soft as the market has been, I really need something to kind of get me through those 2 months or something. Don't forget about your root vegetables because those still ship during the winter. Okay, so things like potatoes, carrots, probably like sugar beets, turnips, like a lot of that stuff will still ship, right, during January and February. I used to move a lot of root vegetable produce during the winter months, a lot. Even out of Canada, I moved it. But by all means, like I said, if you have any other further questions, anything that I can help you out with, email me and we'll get you on track with whatever. And again, if it's something outside of my knowledge, or you hit me up with some very specialized question that I'm not 100% sure about, like I said, I do a ton of networking. I know a ton of people, and I guarantee you I can reach out to somebody and get the answer probably within a matter of half an hour. Okay. So, but does anybody have any other questions for me or anything? Again, maybe in the next video that I do, which I'm not sure what day that'll be, maybe Monday or Tuesday next week. Maybe I'll go over handling objections from freight shippers when you reach out to them, because I've been able to turn phone calls around where they said no, and I was like, okay, and then just flip that around. Next thing you know, they're like, all right, send me over your packet, right? And list the lanes that you want to get covered, or something like that. I've done that numerous times over the years. So sometimes you can turn that initial no into a yes, or maybe you just caught them on a bad day, and they're like, I'm not setting up any new brokers or carriers today. Maybe a forklift driver dumped a whole bunch of stuff and now they're in a bad mood or something, so keep calling back, and don't forget about your follow-ups, right? Like, I sound preachy about that, but don't forget about those follow-ups. If they say, send me over your packet, and you don't hear back from them by the end of the day, get a hold of them again the next day. Don't let them forget about you. Otherwise, they'll absolutely forget about you. So those follow-ups can be as important, if not more important, than those initial phone calls that we make, right? So make sure you're doing that. And again, don't be making just like 10 or 15 calls a day. Make as many phone calls in a day as you can, right? Whether it's 50, 100, 200, if you're able to do it. Fruit is real bad out of Wilmington ports. Yeah, I wasn't aware of that right now. It's kind of hard to keep track of everything, and I don't really do a lot of produce right now, but good to know, right? So if you're into produce, apparently it's real bad out of the Wilmington ports right now. Do we need special permit for Canadian operations for U.S. freight brokers outbound loads? So email me on that one, and I'll go over that with you, because that's a little bit of a longer explanation than we probably have time for in this video, and I apologize. I wish I had a very simple answer for you, but I also need a little more information from you before I answer that as well, because I don't want to open mouth insert foot here, right? So yeah, go ahead, shoot me an email on that, and I will get that answered for you. Okay. So guys, again, we've been at this for almost 24 minutes now. I hope you guys found this useful. Please utilize all of these resources. Again, don't forget about the websites. I've got links for everything down below. If you're a new DAT subscriber and you want 10% off of your subscription, we can do that. And I apologize. I really do have to take this call. So have a great weekend, and I'll see you all later. Bye.